September 14th. Hi, everybody. This is Ingwe Immigration. We're live. This is a live question answer period for Canadian immigration. The topic we're going to cover today is the New Brunswick Provincial Nominee Program for eligible students of private colleges. Okay. It's a brand new program that's not released yet. It's not active yet, but the province has announced that it's planning to launch it for April 2022. Okay, so we're gonna talk about the program. There's not a lot of details out there, so a lot of people, if you've read about it, this is all theory. Okay, so what the program is basically there's 4 private colleges, and if everybody knows or doesn't know, private colleges in Canada, colleges, not university, are not eligible for postgraduate work permit, which means when after you study as an international student, you cannot obtain a work permit through the studying. You can have a co-op, you can get an LMIA work permit, but you don't have access to that postgraduate work permit. Now the New Brunswick program, which is planned for April 1st, 2022, is that if you study in, I believe, 19 identified occupations in 4 designated private colleges in that specific province, the province may allow you to be nominated to stay after your studies and work while you're waiting for your permanent residency. So these are the 19 occupations. It's accounting, technicians, bookkeepers, payroll clerks, shippers and receivers, supply chain logistics, production logistics coordinator, computer network technicians, web designers and developers, computer programmers, nurse aides, right? Healthcare aides, early childhood educators, educational assistants, social and community workers, paramedics, medical laboratory technologists. So be careful, everybody. Medical laboratory technologists requires very heavy duty licensing. Okay, so you cannot just study and start working. As a technician, yes, not a technologist. So you've got to be careful. They do list these occupations, but they don't mention that, oh, by the way, you've got to take a very heavy duty exam to become licensed to actually participate in the market as a medical laboratory technologist. There's a huge demand. There's a huge shortage right now across Canada, but becoming licensed is very difficult. So a lot of people become technicians, medical laboratory technicians, because there is no licensing required. Anyways, the rest of them are computer programmers, web designers, medical administrative assistants. So they work in clinics, hospitals, medical offices. So these are the 19 occupations that are now, for April 2022, eligible under specific criteria in New Brunswick after they study in a private college to stay, work, and gain permanent residency. I believe that there are certain criteria that they're not announcing yet, and we'll know more details towards early 2022. So most likely it's not going to mean you're just going to study to become a licensed practical nurse and stay in the country, right? There are some basic requirements that you have to meet. However, there's 4 private colleges that have been designated that are participating in this program in New Brunswick. What this means for everybody is that other provinces may follow suit. So if this works in New Brunswick, other provinces may decide that, hey, we're going to take a few of these private career colleges and ask them to participate in these programs. So if their international students graduate, they can come in and have these people stay in the country, because there's a huge shortage of these specific occupations, but each province is different. Some occupations overlap in many of these occupations because there's a shortage everywhere. But some of them are specific, let's say, to New Brunswick or Nova Scotia or Ontario or BC or Saskatchewan, right? So why should you care that to study in a private college or a public college? Well, what are the main differences? Well, first of all, it's a postgraduate work permit. Many people who study in a private college do not have the opportunity to apply for a work permit after graduation to stay inside Canada for an opportunity to convert to permanent residency, right? Public colleges are typically more expensive. Typically, not some of the ones in the Atlantic province that we work with. They're actually cheaper. However, 90% of public colleges are more expensive than private colleges. So what are the fees for some of these private colleges that New Brunswick has announced? It's $10,000 to $14,000, right? So you have to pay that per year to go into these private colleges. But if you're doing that, why not just go to a public college where you get access to a postgraduate work permit no matter what you study, and two, you'll end up paying similar amounts, right? Or sometimes there's public colleges that are cheaper than some of these private colleges. In Ontario, there's a lot of very low-cost private colleges, right? We're talking about $5,500, folks, right? But in New Brunswick, there's only 4 that are participating in this program. There's only specific occupations, and they're not the cheapest, but again, it's up to you. If you cannot pay the $17,000, that is the typical public college tuition per year, and you don't have to pay it in one shot, by the way, you pay it per semester, then yes, going to a private college like this, $10,000 to $14,000. And if you cannot afford that, or if it's outside of your budget, you come down and you pay at a private college, which is more cost effective, which is around $5,000 to $6,000 to $7,000 in Toronto, for example, right? But you will not gain postgraduate work permit. You will not be in a provincial program like New Brunswick has announced for April of next year, right? But what you can do is you can work. You or your spouse can work part-time, and your spouse or partner can work full-time, make money for a public college and then transfer after you graduate from the private college to a public college. So make Canadian dollars, spend Canadian dollars. That's why everybody does it, okay? So the way it works today, everybody, okay, we have some questions on YouTube and Instagram, so I'm going to answer these right now. So one by one, apologies for that. Abira Awais is asking, is 473 points a good score for express entry? Yes, it's a very good score. Should I opt for PNP or wait for FSW? So what they mean is, should they wait for the Federal Skilled Worker Program, which is for applicants who don't have Canadian experience, to reopen early 2022, or should they apply for a provincial nominee program? I would say, Abir, consider this key point. Under a provincial nominee program, whether you're inside or outside of Canada, it will take minimum 20 months for your PR. You may apply for work permit to come and work if you have that PNP nomination. However, express entry, you can be processed 6 to 10 months, typically, depending on each case. So you have to consider that. So if you wait another 6 months, maybe it's to your advantage, right? Maybe. But if you have the opportunity to be nominated under the provincial nominee program, and it allows you to apply for work permit to come here while you're PR, maybe that's better, because the PR processing in provincial nominee program will take much longer. Which NOC code is more in demand in Canada, business development officer or accountant? I would say an accountant, like a bookkeeper right now. As a business development officer, it's good, but if you do not have experience, it may be difficult to find a job. Sales and market development are huge demand, right? But if you don't have experience selling in North America, you need that experience, okay? So Kartik on YouTube, will come down to Instagram soon. Kartik on YouTube is asking, I withdrew application because my mistake in that I reapplied but forgot to mention first, but raised a web form about it and gave new immigration form 129 form. Is that okay? It's a study permit. It's possible, but the withdrawal may take time. So when you do a second application, nobody knows in the next 3 or 6 months, will they look at your old application? Will they look at your new? It's okay what you've done, withdrew, but however, it's not really clear cut with IRCC in withdrawing a study permit. There's actually no official process, so you may be stuck in some loop for a long time with them before you get an approval or a decision. Which Abir Aways is asking, which NOC codes are more in demand in Alberta? Alberta is tricky, you got to be careful, but healthcare workers, that's huge. So that's the number one NOC industry that is high demand in Alberta and other provinces. Abdul Basit is asking on our YouTube, what about temporary working permit through International Mobility Program, New Brunswick NOC 7521? These are very technical questions, folks. Under the Heavy Equipment Operator Program, you need a job offer. So under the Provincial Nominee Program, New Brunswick, if you don't have a job offer, then you cannot come in from overseas, right? So you have to have an employer who will hire you under that NOC code to get eligible for a Provincial Nominee Program. Abdul Basit is asking, I've done my biometrics in first week of August, but no result yet. You have to be very patient. You could be waiting for a long time, Abdul Basit. There's people who've applied last year and still have not any news. So if you just applied first week of August for biometrics, you're in for a long, long wait. Abir Away says, I'm from Pakistan. That's fine. I mean, it doesn't matter where you're from. Programs are the programs, immigration programs. If you have that many points in Express Entry, it's excellent. If you have an employer who will nominate you through Provincial Nominee Program, then excellent. If there's a Provincial Nominee Program that's nominating you through your Express Entry profile, that's excellent. So you've got a lot of options. Kartik, our last question on YouTube before we jump to Instagram, is asking, my application is under SDS, which is Student Direct Stream. Only certain countries are eligible for that. And mistake was just a wrong duration. And first, my major worry is that they may ban me for misrepresentation. Was just a wrong duration in first. You'd have to clarify that, Kartik. I'm not sure what duration you made a mistake on the application. You let me know, I'll let you know if you'll be hit with misrepresentation. And by the way, you can send a web form or a direct email to the embassy and tell them that you made this mistake before they make a decision, so there will be no misrepresentation. Okay, we're going to Instagram. Let's see, what are the questions here? We're gonna start from old to new, like the first person that asked the question on Instagram. So Rob is asking, that's not good for those who are applying through Express Entry from outside of Canada. Yeah, I mean, waiting times and everything is not good. Nilufar is asking why the government hasn't drawn anybody from CEC since August. So there's a theory going around why there's no Express Entry draw for Canadian Experience class. Basically in the last 2 weeks since the last draw in August. There's two theories. One, they have such a huge backlog of applications that they cannot process it in time, so they're giving themselves a breather. Second is they may come in with a bigger draw in the next 4 weeks, right? So it could be a combination of both. So that's the theories going out. They will come out, but right now they're so behind because of the Afghanistan crisis. What's going on? The immigration department cannot handle these applications. So they may come in with a bigger draw or more frequent draws to make up for the CEC draw that they missed. Okay. Going to more questions on, there's some questions on YouTube and stuff. Folks, I'm live on 3 platforms, so your patience is highly appreciated. Another question on our Instagram before we jump to YouTube and Facebook is, good day. So this is Bayevu Fatima. Good day. I have submitted my spousal permanent residency since last year, June, and we have done everything asked. And the last time my husband sent a web form from Canada, we were told that our file B. Okay, yes, unfortunately, applications are very slow. Before the end of the year, you will, if it's a family sponsorship, a spousal sponsorship, you should hear back very soon this year, unless there's an issue with your application. being transferred to Ghana. Okay, yeah, so they may ask for an interview. If they have some questions about whether it's a marriage or something else, a conjugal relationship, they may ask for an interview. So that's why the file has gone to Ghana. So they may ask or they may not ask for an interview. Another question in Elaine Tercambios. In Toronto, there are no colleges for 7,000. Actually, there are. They're private colleges. I can give you a college at $5,500 a year. Okay, if that's interesting for you, let me know. Private, not public. Okay, and I have public colleges in other provinces outside of Toronto, Ontario, that are 10,000. Okay, so Elaine, if you want to challenge me, I love challenges. Send us a direct message. Okay, Sorab is saying Canada has been drawing from Canadian experience for the past few months. Those who have applied for Express are in queue, and the queue is getting longer and longer. Yes, that's correct. It's out of everybody's control, Sorab. Does this alleviate chances of those who have applied for instance 470 points? So for federal skilled worker, it's not being drawn right now, so we'd have to wait till the end of the year. Let's look at YouTube before we jump back to Facebook and then Instagram. My application is under STS, and my mistake was under my NOC file is social worker. Abira Aves is saying, my husband is for accountant and business development officer and has 6 years of experience outside of Canada. Accountant bookkeeping is good, Abira, but business development officer, if you don't have experience in North America, it's difficult to find a job unless it's a much lower position. When should we expect Express Entry all programs draw? All programs draw, don't expect it to early 2022, but there will be draws for Canadian Express Entry, Canadian Experience class very, very soon this month. Kartik is asking on YouTube, wrong course duration in the first application, which I've applied for withdrawal, but the worry is the second, which I forgot to mention about first application, but raised web form with, okay, send a web form. All you can do is be very upfront and honest. There's nothing else you can do, okay? My file is in CPC Edmonton. How fast is it processing study permit? Any guess? So if you applied from inside, Kartik, if you applied from inside of Canada within 2 months, 3 months, usually you get a study permit decision. If it's outside of Canada, it depends on your intake period. I expected anywhere from September to November. So you'd have to be a little bit more clear on that. Let's jump to Facebook. Temi Tayo is asking, can a college business management graduate apply for PR with work experience in community social work? Okay, let's look at that question. A college business management graduate. Okay, so you went to college, you graduated with business management. Apply for PR with work experience and community social work. Yes, it depends on the program you're applying. So if it's Express Entry, if it's Provincial Nominee Program, if you have experience in community social work, which you said you do. If you do have the minimum eligibility experience for that program, yes, you can study IT and then become a nurse aide, for example, right? It depends on your experience and the provincial nominee program or the immigration program you're applying for, the rural program, regional program, federal program, provincial program, right? If you have the job offer, if you have, unless it's Express Entry, if you have the work experience, it'll work, okay? Going back to Instagram, Kisha Vatar is asking, why does TR to PR acknowledgements of residency take longer for applicants with a dependent outland applied at 12:28 EST on 6 May? There's no guarantee that it does take longer. It's just a matter that there may be a security check, more in-depth. However, there's no guarantee that it's taking longer. You have to be careful with that, because there are people who are single, are applying locally and have no family outland, and theirs are taking long as well. So don't get into too much detail about 12:28 p.m. or not, and whether you have family outside or not. You just have bigger family, it may just take a little bit longer, okay? We are, hi, Tibadi231, hello. So we've answered Facebook, we're back on YouTube again. Kartik is asking, my file is in CPC. I called IRCC. They told me my file is in Edmonton. My intake is January 22. Kartik, are you applying from inside of Canada? I assume so, because otherwise it would not be in CPC Edmonton. If you can let me know, that would be appreciated. So yeah, everybody. Hi, Mehmet. How are you? Hello, Tibadi. Hello, everybody who's joined us. Ahone. All the people who are joining us today. So in case you don't know how it works, people post questions live in the comment section of YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. We answer them live. We will be here again today at 5 p.m. Eastern time, which is 4 p.m. Colombia, Peru, Mexico, local time, or Argentina. That will be, late evening overseas if you're from India, Pakistan, or Dubai, or Turkey, or Vietnam. And I'll have my Spanish-speaking colleagues, so we're going to have a bilingual session talking about international students work, the New Brunswick program, and why there was no CEC draw. Again, the same session later this afternoon. From India under STS. Okay, Kartik, I understand now. So all you could do is, if you call them, they can't give you any proper information. You sent a web form, clarify the mistake you did, that's it. Okay, that's all you can do. They cannot hit you 100% with misrepresentation, is because you already informed them and you told them it was a mistake. If they do hit you with misrepresentation, you can take it to court and appeal, because you've already sent them a clear message why you made that mistake, and it was unintentional. Okay. Steven Diaz on YouTube is asking, hello, good morning. If I will apply for a public university and the career that I will apply for is IT, will it be difficult to apply for a job without no experience in Canada? Okay, so let's break down that question, folks. Stephen, okay, is planning to study in public university in Canada, and it'll be in an IT subject. So it could be network, web design, software development, stack developer, whatever. Will it be difficult to apply for a job without no experience? So the best thing, Stephen Diaz, is that it's not going to be impossible. It'll be actually, because if it's a high demand occupation, you will be able to find a job. Having zero experience in the field just makes it a little bit more challenging. My suggestion, go to a university which has a co-op program for that subject, or go to a college which has a co-op program, so work study for that subject. Because when you gain co-op experience, it also gives you an opportunity to be hired by that same employer. Okay, so a more hands-on educational program. It does. If you're studying software development and you have no experience, and it's a university that's top-notch, like Waterloo, you will have no problems. Because what you can do while you're studying is you can work in the summers and gain experience, or work part-time while you're studying. So you have a lot of options, even if you want to continue with the university that you've chosen and you have no previous experience. So stay in the university, but gain part-time work experience until you graduate while you're working during summer holidays, or pick a co-op program so you get more hands-on work study experience. Kartik on YouTube is saying that my course was 16 months, so I guess I will qualify for 3 years PGWP. Yeah, I mean, if you graduate, so I'm not sure what happened, Kartik, because you're talking about your study permit and then your PGWP. As long as it's 16 months, it's not guaranteed it's 3 years. So just so you know, it's very discretionary by the IRCC offices whether they will give you 3 years or not. So it's not 100% guaranteed. We're looking at another question on Facebook by Temi Tayo. Can a college business, okay, is that the same question? What is that? Okay, yeah. So can a college business management graduate in Canada apply for PR with postgraduate work experience in community social work through express entry? If you have experience or some education previously in community social work, it should be fine. Okay, so you have to look under that specific NOC code what the requirements are, and if you meet that job requirement, so if you're a manager level, well, you need previous experience. So it has to make sense. You'd have to have somebody actually take a look at it, because it's a very specific question. Because we'd have to see your profile and the community social work job that you have, and is there any match to that? And does the wage rate match the job bank rate as well. Okay, going back to Instagram, we have Ahorne is asking a question. I applied for the TR to PR pathway. Yeah, I know. But didn't give a current medical exam. Should I do it now or wait for IRCC to ask me? I believe you should do it because it will take, it will be valid for, you know, at least 6 months or more. So I believe now would be a good time to take it. And at least when you uploaded the application, you should have said that you already have an appointment to take the exam. So if you haven't already done so, please do so. Okay. Any other questions on Facebook? No. We're back on YouTube. I got a reply for the withdrawal request, which said we have received a request for withdrawal. So I think they are processing it. Okay, yeah. If they've received it, great. But whether they will accept the withdrawal, whether they can process the new application, these are all questions only IRCC can answer. Like right now, you're at their mercy. You just wait. You cannot do anything else except web forms. When you call IRCC, basically they have no clue either. When you talk to their people on the call center, they have no clue. So sometimes they give you a different answer every time you call. So I don't recommend actually calling them. You will get nothing when calling them. ECU is asking, ECUA, please give us the best tips and pointers for SOP making, student visa applicant in business administration, Alberta. So SOP is basically your study plan, right? Your purpose for studying that program. For people who don't know what that is, you have to make sure it's a logical transition in your career. So if you already studied, if you already have work experience, does this program that you've selected, is it a logical transition in your career? Second, is it a lower education than you already have? Then why? Is it available in your home country? Okay. Are you studying a program that you could have studied in your home country? Why are you coming to Canada? Okay, you got to address these issues. Okay, so that's a huge issue. Like, why are you coming to Canada? Why can't you study this in your own region, in your own country? And then plus, if you have a master's and you're doing a 1-year postgraduate or 2-year, why? Is it a career change? Why a career change? Do you have work experience, or did you study engineering and you're like an interior designer, for example, and you're doing an official career change because you don't have formal education? You've got to address these issues. So each case is different. And make sure you have an expense costing table, outlining your expenses, your living expenses, your tuition, and how you plan to pay for those. And your plan when you return to your home country after your studies. Are you planning to start your own business? Well, what is the detailed plan about? Where are you going to get the money for? So you got to be very detail oriented with your SOP, okay? Statement of purpose. Kartik is saying IRCC should introduce a way for amending the application, as the web form is time-taking processing nowadays, even 3 months for withdrawal. Yeah, IRCC is busy. They don't have time to even scratch their heads. They don't really care. Unfortunately, this is the government. This is not like Apple or Uber or Google or Microsoft or Amazon. This is the government, right? So this is what it is. We just have to all live with it, right? So we're coming to an end of this session. We've been live for about 30 minutes. So for people who don't know, we're here every Tuesday, 9 a.m., 5 p.m., North America Eastern Time. And again, every Tuesday recurring. And we're here to answer your questions live. Sometimes we can answer them properly, but like, for example, Temitayo on Facebook, it's a very specific question related to your own profile. So I cannot answer it in general. Okay. We're live on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. We'll be back here again 5 p.m. local time in Toronto, which would be 4 p.m. Colombia, Mexico, Argentina, and Peru, I believe. And again, late evening overseas if you're from Turkey, Dubai, India, Pakistan. Remember, everybody, you can reach out to us, direct message us on Facebook, Instagram. We are here on YouTube. You can find us on our website, ingwe.ca. We are a licensed immigration firm. What we do is Tuesdays, just basically give you all the information that we have, and we try to guide you. And sometimes, you know, we're all sort of at the mercy of IRCC. If you say, I've applied for IRCC, they're not replying to me, nobody can do anything, right? It's a matter that it's slow. There's got to be patience. They have a huge backlog. They did not process any applications in 2020. So that means a whole year of work and application has been pending. And now they're trying to catch up. And then the Afghanistan crisis started, which again has pushed back everything. So patience is key. Ooh, sorry, that was my keyboard. Thanks, everybody. We will be back again this afternoon in a bilingual Spanish-English session with my colleague. Okay, so bring your questions, bring your comments. We love to hear from you. Thanks again, everybody on Instagram and, of course, YouTube. You guys are the best.